Welcome to Whose Review Matters Anyway, the podcast where the show notes are made up and the reviews don't matter, just like Mike's review for Creed 3. We don't have time for it, Mike. We're going into the things. We got 3 things to do. So no talking about Creed 3. No, too late. He missed a shot. All right, people, it's been too long. No one heard that. No one heard that. It's been too long. We got 3,000 things to talk about and another 3,000 things to talk about. And Ham's putting us on a time limit. It's been like, what, a month? Has it been a month?
It's been a month. Yeah, it's been a month.
Something like that. So we got Ant-Man to catch up on. And then we got recently Scream 6.
Cocaine
and then
Bear.
we got The Last of Us the series, because we finally finished all 9, technically 10 episodes all together. So straight into it. None of the bullshit. Here we go. Starting off with Ant-Man, since we're talking about bullshit anyway. All right. I'm not technically, that's not me talking. That's the reviews we're about to look at talking. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania came out. Oh my god, what is it? February 17th? Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, last year.
The first, is it the first Marvel movie this year?
Yeah, yes. The first Marvel movie. Yeah.
Okay, all right, because this is the start of Phase 5.
Yes, this is the start of Phase 5. Well, Megan was the first phase. Was the first Marvel movie.
Wow.
Not joking. No, yeah, this is the first Phase 5 movie.
Okay. We already know everything about Ant-Man and the Wasp, so no need to go through the cast, but we'll do the ratings as we usually do. IMDb gives Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, too long of a title, 6.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
Rotten Tomatoes, 47%.
Oh.
Metacritic, 48%.
Oh.
Now, Ham said, fuck the alcohol, do the drugs, because that's the only way to experience this movie, which is why 82% of his people like this movie.
Jesus saves us all. Save us.
God.
Now, consistently, Marvel movies have been mostly on the higher end for us. There's been like a couple of like yellows, maybe 1 or 2 reds here and there.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
Okay, out yourself on that one. So it'd be interesting to see where we fall into this one, because this is it's a weird movie. I don't know, to say the least. Cards all around, and then we'll backtrack to our pros and cons. Mike, what card are you going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp?
A yellow.
Okay, that didn't seem like a confident yellow, but okay.
No, it's a confident yellow.
Okay, Ham.
I too will give it a yellow.
Okay. I will triple that and also give it a yellow.
Ooh, nice. We got a triple. We got a hat trick.
I don't know. I really want to do we want to discuss the elephant in the room first, the one that everyone's been bitching about the most?
I don't know what it is, but tell me.
I don't know what it is either.
Everyone's bitching about MODOK.
Oh, MODOK, yeah.
I don't think they're bitching. They're just memeing it so much.
Yeah,
okay, even like the quote unquote diehard Marvel fans are like so pissed off that they felt like MODOK was done like poorly, like period at all altogether.
Yeah, just watch the show then. I don't care.
Okay, thank you. That was my argument too. Thinking about that was like, how can you say that he's goofy and that he's like this like joke or whatever of a character when what was it? Patton
Oswalt,
Oswald, has done a TV comedy cartoon series where he's raising a family in a household, like, I don't know, in a suburb area. Like, it just that's we're not going to complain about that, but we're going to complain about this in the movie. Like, I liked MODOK personally. I thought he was funny.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny too. It was definitely the comic relief since you didn't have your boy Lewis.
Oh, don't talk to me about. I'm still mad at that. That's why I got a yellow, I think. Yeah, right.
But then people are complaining about the CGI behind MODOK and how the face looks awful. But then, like, if you're going for the realism part, like, how else are you gonna do him? Like,
exactly.
It made sense to me.
I mean, you can make fun of the CGI because it's CGI. I mean, I can make fun of any CGI I want, and it was goofy, but I still
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
character.
when you think about Modoc, when you like look him in the in the comics and everything like that, he is somewhat a goofy villain. Even though like maybe his intentions are for real, but the way that he looks really goofy.
Yeah, I mean, in the comics, he is a more serious villain. Like he is supposed to be very intimidating and all that shit. And then you have like one or two comic lines, and then cartoon series that was recently done that make him more of a joke than an actual serious like intimidating villain. But I mean, I thought his thing was his like suit or whatever you want to call it was cool. His weapons, he had all his gadgets there, and he had funny lines. Like I just thought he was
Yeah.
hilarious. Like he just didn't want to be a dick. That's it.
Also, yeah, it's
Yeah,
an Ant-Man movie, so there you go.
yeah, and it was pretty funny of how in the end, like spoilers, um,
Spoilers?
like
Spoilers.
yeah, spoilers, like
Spoilers.
how in the end, like he's about to die, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not a dick. Yeah, you're. Oh my god, I'm so sad." And then he dies, and it's like, okay, move on to
I
the
mean,
next.
Well,
he
no,
is
they.
he he is the world's greatest Avenger.
Well, see, that's the thing, though.
Yes, he
I
is.
question that because how would he know about the Avengers if he sort of got sucked up before, or yeah, before that, right?
Well, he's been around for a long time, so he's
You
probably
remember Kang the
known.
Conqueror went against the Avengers in other
Oh,
timelines.
true.
No,
Yeah.
but Modoc is just from that timeline. How does Modoc know about the Avengers if Ant-Man
No,
wasn't
but
even?
No,
He's Kane's henchman, so Kane probably told him all about him, and probably has been on a couple of like runs or something with the Avengers anyway.
yeah, and probably he got into a fight with maybe Captain America. That's like one of a conspiracy theory that's out there.
Huh? Okay,
True.
I didn't read into that, but all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought his character was cool. Uh, the daughter Cassie Lang, I thought was a cool. It was a nice little addition. I don't think she did anything that was like breakthrough outstanding.
they
But
did
definitely
change the
played a very.
actress.
They
Yes,
did. I mean,
which no one really talked about it actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I was watching Endgame not too long ago, and I was like, wait, what
Yeah,
the hell?
it's very obvious it's not the same person.
Yeah,
but her the way that she played the tropey, like rookie in training. My dad is the one that's training me. I mean, she played it. She played it all right. There was nothing to downplay there.
Eh,
Um, Kane, I think, was obviously the highlight. Jonathan Majors is Kane the Conqueror. I hope that's not the last we actually see of him. I mean, this is Marvel, so I'm pretty sure he'll turn up elsewhere, whether it be a series or in a future
I
movie.
mean, if
Um,
everyone's seen the both end credit scenes, it's definitely not.
Well, no, well, I mean, so Jonathan Majors as Kane the Conqueror, not Jonathan Majors as like all the other different versions
yeah.
of Kane out there, because
I
they all have
actually,
different names. They all that's not the Kane the Conqueror every single time. They
well,
all
I
are
did read
different variants.
something about Kang the Conqueror that was pretty interesting. Um, that apparently in the even in the comics, when Kang the Conqueror was defeated, he somehow went back in time and was undercover with you guys remember the end credits where we saw Loki?
Yeah, I saw that. He's the yeah the
Apparently he's Kang the Conqueror and he's trying to figure out the time
yeah I saw that same thing, Mike.
somewhat. But go ahead, Sal, because I have a couple of things that I want to say about Kang.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he was probably the best part of the movie. His
Yeah, he was for
power
sure.
levels were very inconsistent though, because he
Yes,
could come off as like a badass and like almost kill you instantly, but then there are times when he doesn't use the powers when he should have, and I'm like,
Hmm.
are you just like just gadgets, or are you actually like using the force here? I can't really tell. Um,
Yeah,
same.
then Paul Rudd, I mean, I feel like he just played this. There's this whole trilogy has been weird, which is why like there's nothing I hate about this movie, but there's nothing that like really sticks out to me as like, oh man, this is a great like story arc for Ant-Man. Like I get that he kind of goes from like what like a thief to what is it, like working with people and being a family person, and then this is him like sacrificing himself for like the greater love or whatever. it's like a weird arc. It's not as like as clean or as smooth as like Captain America's arc, where that whole thing is very grounded and
Yeah, but that
consistent.
was the best one out of all of
No,
them.
but
Come
like,
on.
okay, but you don't get Captain America thrown into like this weird alternate reality with like these weird monsters and all that shit. It's consistently grounded.
What
Where
about
Ant Man
Thor?
should have been no, but Ant Man should have been consistently grounded, but it's not. We went again from everything being in the city to now being thrown into the quantum realm, which again is not a bizarre thing out of like in the sense of like that's where Ant Man eventually does discover that's like part of his like story or whatever, but it's just like kind of too soon. Which people you brought it up, like people are mad that we didn't get Michael Pena back into this, which would have been nice to have him maybe in the beginning to do
Yeah,
like some sort of recap and then transition us into the whole quantum realm shit
or at the
because
end. Yeah.
or yeah, I mean just something to bring us back to like the Ant-Man life instead of like really focusing hardcore into the quantum realm. I don't know. I can't give him too much crap because it is a kind of like a hard movie to pull off. And people keep saying like, "Oh, Kane was like the perfect villain, but not for an Ant-Man movie," which I guess you could argue that, but I don't know. It's just
I agree with you. I feel like I want. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead. No,
I'll
no, go
bring.
ahead. At this point,
Well,
it's an
then
open
I'll
I
go
discussion.
ahead. On the
I,
lines of what you were
I
saying,
no. I
I
was
I do agree that sort of it did throw me off that it's almost like all CGI, whereas the first two films were in the San Francisco or wherever it is.
no.
It
I
was
mean,
just it was in the back of my mind. I kept thinking, yeah, this is
right.
weird. This is a little weird. Like, okay,
I just think the introduction for Kane the Conqueror should have been towards somebody else that's a more serious superhero instead of Ant Man, because the thing is that the threat level, what you mentioned for Kane, was that they kept on saying that he is dangerous, he is this, he is that. But the thing is that they did the same thing with Captain Marvel, where this is supposed to be the strongest Avenger, and we just don't see it. I didn't sense him being the strongest ever, even stronger than Thanos. I just think like they just nerfed them a little bit just to be equal as Ant Man, and I just didn't like that. I felt like it could have been easily with Thor, or it could have easily been, I don't know, Loki, or like a very strong superhero, not just Ant Man.
Yeah, because the fight itself, even at the end when they didn't have the powers, felt very awkward. It's like Ant-Man shouldn't really be landing punches like this because he doesn't have superhuman strength. And
Yeah,
he doesn't use his like shrinking powers and then like uses that to his advantage. Like it's just a straight up fight. And I mean, come on, like Kane is not like a scrawny person like Paul Rudd is. Like he's got muscles, he's got some like heaviness to him, so he should just be, which he did beat the shit out of Ant-Man, but should have like practically killed him at that point. Which that okay, that's one gripe I do have where as much as I probably would have not liked it, I think I would have appreciated it if they actually killed Ant-Man in this movie.
yeah.
that's what a lot of people were thinking that was going to happen.
I
But
thought so too. I thought it was gonna happen, and then I don't know. I think honestly,
that's more believable.
I feel I'm going to say this, and then you guys might disagree with me.
Oh,
I
where's
know it.
the
I feel that Phase 5. I don't know how it's going to be later on down the storyline, but I already have a feeling that they should have forget about the Avengers and focus on X-Men, and let Kane the Conqueror be in the X-Men arc, and then
Okay.
and then you will collide, like like the Infinity Crisis into like the Avengers and X-Men together, stopping Kane the Conqueror.
That would probably be Secret Wars though, so it
Yeah,
may
that's
not be
probably be
this.
all the way at the end.
You
Yeah, I
think so?
think this.
Okay.
I would assume that this phase sets up like the young Avengers slash like the threat of Kane, and then we get the Kane Dynasty, and then we get. Oh wait, but they doing those two Avengers movies like back to back?
Yeah, they're doing back to back, so that's what I'm saying. Like they're saving those two movies in the end. Same thing with Endgame.
Oh.
So that's why I'm
Mm.
I'm I'm saying, like, I feel like this could have easily been an X-Men story instead of Ant-Man.
Mm.
But we'll see how it is, how it plays out later on, because apparently there is supposed to be an X-Men movie in
Yeah.
between, but I just feel like they should just forget about the Avengers, and that storyline already tied up beautifully with Thanos.
More
And
important than the X-Men, though, you have the Fantastic Four, which has a much more involvement, especially from the
Yeah.
comic lore, with this
yeah,
whole like multiverse shit. So
yeah, and that would have been beautiful for them, for Kang the Conqueror to show up against the Fantastic Four.
yes, that I think would have been a more would have been a more appropriate movie than an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think Jonathan Major did a phenomenal job, and I do like the threat. Because I like how when he was on screen, there was no joking around; like he was serious.
Yeah,
But it's just I didn't sense the power of him. Like the
uh,
threat is there, perfect. But I just by you telling me, oh yeah, he's super strong, is different from me seeing it.
I'm
his
just
powers were just
saying.
inconsistent. That's what
Yeah,
threw me off. Yeah.
But if
very
we have the
inconsistent.
last Fantastic Four group that we just saw that came out, that is Michael B. Jordan versus.
Maybe
Oh
Creed
my,
3 all over again.
Yes,
yes, Creed
exactly.
3.
I don't. Okay, so what else did you guys want to add on to
Um,
the movie?
I just want to say, like, Marvel did a cash grab with Bill Murray.
Ah, a cash grab?
Yeah, they're like, hey, Bill Murray's in the movie. Come and watch the movie.
Yeah, but this could have been the movie that they were talking about. Well, I'll just bring it up real quick. The sort of inappropriate something happened, and that could have been that movie because it was just weird that they mentioned some movie he was doing, but they never mentioned what. And guess what?
I
This is
mean,
the
they
movie.
have sex, they fucked. I mean, I don't know that she kind of hinted,
No,
like, I
I'm
need a
talking about
new.
in real life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, the
So
actress and him?
no, somebody mentioned somebody and Bill Murray and he jokingly did something, but they never mentioned what project. And I'm thinking it's this one because what else has he been in?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So I mean, he was. I don't know about Cash Grab, but yeah, it was a weird cameo for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't have anything against Bill Murray being in a movie. It's just more of like,
Was he
it's
necessary?
it's just off-putting. It's like,
Yes.
why Bill
Yes.
Murray? Because like, let's think
That's what
back
I'm
just
saying.
really quick. Can we think of another cameo that was done, but like it was justified in a way? Like besides Stanley, of course, but like any other cameos? Because it's only been oh, you got Sylvester Stallone
Yeah.
as one of the Guardians, but that's already a wacky movie anyway, so it's not like it's I don't know. I don't know what it is about Bill Murray at this point now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
I
He's
just
mean,
Bill
Sylvester
it
Murray.
was
Stallone.
Why?
very
Why?
off-putting.
I kind of like Sylvester Stallone in Guardians of the Galaxy because he did showed up where like he was like a leader of a group,
Yeah.
and then he showed up to show respect to this guy that
Oh,
died.
Well,
Miley
So
Cyrus was in Guardians, don't forget that.
yeah. Well, I
Miley
guess we
Cyrus,
can.
when?
Yeah,
She
the
was
same sort of scene.
she was the voice of the was it like a box or alien or I don't know, something. She was one of the voices of
All right.
the old Guardians.
Oh, I don't remember.
I think Bill Murray's the more famous cameo, but there is a lot of cameos like people from Community, the
Well,
cameos
Harry
from,
Styles.
or yeah, the cameos from
No,
Thor.
is this what you were getting at? And maybe this is what the only way thinking. This is the only thing I'm thinking of when Bill Murray's in this movie is that Bill Murray like obviously needs money and like did something to make himself be put into a Marvel movie so he can get some sort of percentage because he knows it's way more than what he's getting right now.
I doubt that. I doubt like people's like, oh, we can get Bill Murray. Let's put him in there.
That's
No,
what I'm
no, like
saying. Like
he
it was.
wants to just be put in there. Like he like somehow conned his way being put into that movie.
I think the opposite. I think if
I
somehow
think
they're like, oh, we can get Bill Murray, let's put him anyways. No, it
I
doesn't
feel
matter
like
why.
how control. I feel like how controlling Marvel is, especially Kevin Feige. He wouldn't just like be convinced to put someone in a Marvel movie. I feel like he was like, you know what, let's who's an actor that could play this actor, like who's kind of like, you know what, betrayed them. Oh, you know what, Bill Murray. Everyone loves Bill Murray. Let's get him into this movie and just show him in one scene, and that's it.
And it somebody pointed out, it's not my observation, but it does make sense. He was literally Lando Calrissian. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes, in this movie, yes.
but not a cool version.
No, no.
No.
Wannabe.
Yes,
Right.
wannabe, and they failed.
Yes.
Not a strong start to their phase, but
No.
not a
No.
terrible one. It was just kind of this could have been. I'm curious what the next movie. It's Guardians, right? Guardians is the next movie. I'm curious if like
Yes, but I feel like that's out of line of what the story's actually.
Guardians always has been like out of like their own. Like it has always been their own thing though.
Guardians has always been a CG, you
Have
know,
they? Have they? Yeah, they
CGI
have.
crazy shit.
Yeah, that's true. They have. Yeah. So I
Again,
mean, I'm
I think
excited.
we're looping back to that to the argument I'm going to pull up again is that it's just there's no consistent like there's no connector. There's no Avengers
There's
movie
no
to connect all
theme.
these. Yes,
There's no
there's
theme.
no
Yeah, and that's why the reason why I'm mentioning is that I just feel like they're trying to find ways to connect everything, and I just feel like they should have just finished with the whole Avengers with Endgame and focus on X-Men and
Well, the last thing I'll just throw out here, because so that we can move on
Fantastic
to your
Four.
next movie, is that I think Marvel and slash Disney, whatever, has made so much fucking money off their first saga that they're like, you know what? Let's just throw a whole bunch of shit against the wall, and eventually we can just reuse these things later. Like, I think that's because think about it, right? They're diversifying so much, not just by like race or gender or any of that stuff, but just their storylines and just how they're like involving a lot of characters into things that we normally probably wouldn't think of them being involved in. And so I think they're just literally be like, all right, what are some Marvel characters that we should probably make movies now so that way we don't lose the license to them. Okay, and then there we go. We just introduce them and then we can reuse them again. I
It's
think that's what it comes
comics.
down to.
It's
Yeah, it's
comics in
comics.
real life.
Yeah, no,
It,
exactly.
it
Like
really is. It actually
because
really
Ant
is.
Man, because Kane being an Ant Man comic, I think is all right, an Ant-Man film is not out of the lines of like what you would probably find in a comic. Like they've gone toe to toe, and obviously Ant-Man does his own thing to try to fight him. So it's not like this was totally, out of left field. It has happened, but I think it's just the image of like we've had Thanos as this like badass, super high level threat, and now we have Kane who should be matched to or should be more than a threat than Thanos was, but gets beat by Paul Rudd. Like I
Mhm.
think that's what's off-putting about the whole thing. But again, it's that's probably the majority of like viewers is that not actual hardcore comic people. It's casual people that are like, this doesn't make any sense to me, and then
Yeah,
you're just watching it. So
Yeah, he didn't get beat by Ant Man. He got beat by Paul Rudd.
by Paul Rudd, the man from Knocked Up.
Oh, wow.
all right. Let's move on to topic number two.
Number
Scream
two.
6, which is the next entry into now. I is does it 5, 6 movies? Is that what considers it a franchise? Like it's not like
Yeah,
3 or 4,
I think by three you're a franchise. I think if you make two, you're just a sequel.
but it made a point in this movie to say that they're now a franchise.
Yeah, the now the new characters are in a franchise basically.
I gotta see this. Hold on, Google.
I don't know.
What
Well, okay,
makes?
so Scream 6 carries on the storyline that we established in Scream 5. Well, technically it's been established a long time ago, but using the same returning characters, a good chunk of them, which I think is a little different than previous ones because it's usually just like a select few, like usually 2 or 3.
Yeah.
No, am I wrong? Like, yeah, I know it's been a while since I've seen the Scream films, but is that right?
Um.
Like, it's only like 2 or 3 characters from like the previous movie, but
No,
this
because
one is
one
like,
to two had a few.
okay. I don't know. It just to me, this one was an obvious like we're continuing that storyline, while the other ones like could have stood their own.
I mean, just I think it's just because this is the sequel of the new storyline.
Mm. All right. IMDb gives Scream 6 a 7.3 out of 10.
Uh huh.
Oh, okay.
Rot- Rotten Tomatoes 77%.
Uh huh.
Metacritic 61%.
Oh.
Oh,
Now, Ham, along with selling the drugs from the last movie, had some left over,
I did.
and
Oh,
then
damn.
because of supply and demand, upsold them, doubled the
Mm-hmm.
cost,
Yeah.
and it threw in a free ghost face mask with every purchase of a drug,
I
which
still
is
have
why
one. Yes.
89% 89% of his people like this movie.
Damn, rounded up. That's an A, baby.
Hell yeah, baby.
Okay, so Scream 6, and I'm just gonna say this from my own context. Scream 5 was in my top 5 from last year. I really like the franchise, or now because I get franchise. Really like the franchise a lot. Every one of us are fans of the entire franchise. I think we
Yeah.
all like Scream 5.
Yes.
Oh, technically 3 films makes it a franchise.
Well, see, no, I was gonna say 4 because that's a trilogy. What's 4 movies? A quadrilogy?
Quadrilogy?
A
No, that's not a
quadrilogy?
thing.
No, that is a thing because Aliens had a box set that was the Aliens quadrilogy. We
Yeah,
had
how
this
was that
discussion
4th
when we
movie?
saw that.
So what's the 5th one then?
Fifthology?
All right, cards for Scream 6. Mike.
I'm gonna give this a yellow card.
That sounded like you were gonna lean one way or the other, but you settled for
Yes.
yellow. Were you gonna lean more to green or red?
Green.
Okay, Ham.
I'm getting deja vu because I too am giving this a yellow.
All right, I am then going to confidently say that I will also give this a yellow.
What? Yo, this is a
Whoa!
once in a lifetime moment.
Whoa!
Well, wait until Last of Us comes out.
I know, right? Wait till that one hits.
Wait until that one.
Okay, so Scream 6, there's just a few points I want to hit. That the first one that was very obvious to me was that this movie took itself more seriously than any other title in the Scream franchise.
No
Yes.
way.
Yes, it did. I agree.
Yes, this
More
one was not.
serious?
You can use the words darker or hardcore or whatever, but this one felt more like a typical horror slasher than a like a tropey parody kind of slasher like every
Okay,
other
Yeah,
Scream
okay,
like
title
5.
was.
How
okay.
5 felt,
But
yeah.
it wasn't
Okay.
until the discussion that Mindy had, spoilers by the way, the whole episode is spoilers. So if you're still
Spoilers.
listening and like didn't want to be spoiled, you fucked up.
You
Um,
fucked up big.
Whoa!
Everybody
I
dies.
like this. Okay, so this movie didn't feel like a Scream movie to me until we hit that conversation at the college park where Minnie was explaining the whole thing like they do in every
Yes,
movie of
yes.
Yeah.
like you're the suspect because you just came in and you were like legacy characters, so everyone's off the table or whatever, but all that bullshit. I was like, oh, okay, well, now we're back to being a Scream movie. But then it just throws that away and it's like, okay, now we're gonna go back to a typical slasher where there was much less call outs than there were in previous films. Like
Mm-hmm.
almost as if this movie or this franchise is trying to transition itself to be more serious. But then that's kind of like I don't know. To me, that's a little disappointing because the whole point of why I liked the whole entire franchise to begin with was because it was able to mock itself and still carry out the typical tropey shit while having us as the viewers believe it or like doubt ourselves as to who it could be or what's gonna happen next and all that stuff. It just this one kind of just felt like I was just watching a typical horror movie and that it just wasn't I don't know, it didn't feel pleasant because I expected to go not see a typical horror movie. I expected to go see a Scream movie, which it missed a lot of marks for me. And it got to a point, and this is how I know this is when I finally realized, like, yeah, this is trying to take itself more seriously than any other movie. When you know how you always get chased by somebody in a horror movie, like the character gets chased and they throw something at the character and the character's down or whatever, and you literally could decide as the character, do I still continue to beat the shit out of the person I just knocked down, or do I
Yeah.
just run away and then fall into a tropey bullshit of like getting myself killed? And there was so many times at the end of the movie when they were in the theater where the guy, I forget his name, the guy that falls in love with Jenna Ortega's character, like
Yeah.
throws the camera, throws the TV or the case
Isn't
or
it
whatever.
Keith or
The
something like that?
maybe. But
How
like
could
throws
I
all the
know?
shit at the people that are chasing him, and the knife you see that it's like loose, like it's far away. Why doesn't he just continue to beat the shit out of them? I was like,
That's what
why
I was saying too.
why are you doing this? Like, I don't and you could argue like, oh, it's happened in the other Scream movies. Yeah, sure, maybe, but it's still mocking itself. So I know that it's not going to be as realistic and as super serious. So I could excuse it because it is just trying to like make a funny point of itself. But this one, because I felt into the seriousness of it all, I couldn't take it. I was like, okay, this is just annoying now at this point. Why are you acting like this? Like, why are you acting like a Michael like Myers movie or a Jason movie? Like this isn't what Scream is. And as much as it sounds like I'm hating it, it's like I didn't hate it that much because again, you still had a very few call outs of like being very meta of like, okay, oh, she's got to be the killer because it only makes sense because her dad's the cop or whatever, and they call them out multiple times, and at the end, you're still like, oh, is it really them? Is it who? Like, I don't know. It just
No, I
this
knew.
was
Bad.
inconsistent for me as a Scream movie. Oh, and then the other thing that I couldn't like, why I just felt like this was going typical topey or tropey, whatever. Um, the guy literally had a knife stabbed through him in his mouth and twisted it. It was twisted. He died. Yet we're
Yeah.
gonna bring him back for 2 seconds to go running across a hall just to get a TV, hit him in the head, and that kills him. What? Like, it just frustrated me as we got towards the end of the movie. So I depending on how you guys talk about it, I might give it a red card now, but I
Really?
think I'll still settle for a yellow just because I do like the characters. I still like that there was still some callbacks, but it just not enough for me to go up to green. It's not a green for me.
Okay. Ham, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. Yeah, I was just it. I figured it out. I'm like, okay, he's the cop. He said some key things. He's like, oh, the brother. And then it's oh, the brother. I'm like, well, he looks like that guy from the last movies, and yep, they're gonna fake kill that girl. So I already knew it's about family. So I really did figure it out not pretty quick, but I'm like, if it's that, then it's dumb. And then also the love interest, he survived. I was like, no fucking way, no fucking way. That is fucking bullshit. He
Oh,
got
when he
stabbed
gets stabbed, right?
Yeah.
from both
Yeah,
both
from
of
both
them.
of them. He should have died. That's
Yeah,
the other thing that
yeah,
frustrated me was at the end. Mindy lives, the brother lives. I'm like, you all should have died.
yes,
What is happening here?
yes. That's why when it got goofy, that's when I'm like, no, that's goofy as shit that they survived.
Yeah.
Mm. So I just thought about the movie before, and I'm like, yeah, I think the other movie was better. And I don't like to compare sometimes, but I had to. I'm like, I think that other movie was the better one. So it's definitely not getting a green. It was the last one so good that this is so bad. I don't think so. That's why I'm sticking to a yellow and
And
not red.
and Jenna Ortega's character, I forget, is it Sam or is that the sister? Sam's the
That's the
sister.
sister.
I think Sam's the sister.
Yeah, Sam is the sister, the one that's
Oh,
Billy Newman's.
Tara is Jenna Ortega. She
Yeah.
Okay.
gets stabbed. She is stabbed, and
Oh
she's
Yeah.
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah. I
pain.
forgot about that
And
one
we just
too.
completely just be like, fuck it. Who the hell cares? No one's gonna pay attention to that detail.
Yes, yes.
I
I
was
forgot.
thinking
Last
the
one.
same thing too. I said, "Isn't she bleeding out or
Oh,
some shit?"
oh, and don't get. Oh my god, I might just drop this down to a red now.
Uh,
Like the fact that they're doing the whole. Oh, you gotta let me go thing. I'm like, all right, Mufasa, we're gonna do this today. All right, fine. Let her go. I can't wait to see how this turns out. Where we know she's gonna grab the knife, but it wasn't like a smooth like.
No,
Oh,
it was
the
so
knife
obvious.
drops out and then she just lets go and then is able to turn and stab him. No, it's a oh, wait, let me reach and grab your knife. Hold on. Do we got the shot? All right, we got the shot. All right, now go ahead and let me go. Boom. I'm like, why did we just spend 2 minutes watching you do this? Like, I don't understand, like, how stupid, like, that directing must have been at that moment. Like, that could have been pulled off way better.
yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm very surprised that you guys didn't mention this story had the same storyline as Scream 2.
Scream 2. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Literally, the ending was a copy and paste of Scream 2. Dewey gets stabbed to death. This guy gets stabbed to death. They both survive. The killer's motive is get revenge because the girl killed the brother. They killed the brother. That checks out beautifully. Gail gets shot. She survives. Jane Ortega gets stabbed. She survives. And it's just like, I agree with you guys both. I feel like the ending got a little sloppy
Yeah.
for sure. And I think that's what I dropped it down to a yellow. Um, and there's very inconsistency of like definitely like you're gonna, running away from the killer, tripping some things, and the killer's gonna trip, and like why will you not beat the fuck out of him if you're already beating the fuck out of him? Continue on and stuff like that. There is
Oh,
countless times
and
like this.
keep in mind, like the killers, right? Like the dad.
Hmm.
Listen, the dad's old, but how the fuck is he gonna bust through a door like that in the apartment, like with the bookshelf and everything? Like, I don't believe the guy is that strong.
I don't believe even the skinny kid,
No,
the
any of
son is
them.
that
Yeah, any
strong.
of them.
Yeah.
Because remember the latter part where they're going across the ladder to the apartment. That was the dad, I believe, right? That was the dad that was bursting through the door with the bookshelf.
Well, could have
Yes,
been
I
the.
think that is the dad because even
Oh
the
yeah,
the the son was like, "Yo, I was at the library. You could tell me.
ask
You could
anybody.
ask
Yeah.
him."
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think that is the dad that was doing that. I think all three of them were taking turns for sure. I don't think the well, probably the daughter for sure. She was the one that stabbed Mindy in the train. But yet again, she's short, so like she was wearing very high heels or high boots
Platforms.
into
Yeah.
platforms and stuff like that. Um, the things that you guys mentioned, definitely I agree with you guys 100%. The things that I did like though is how gory, how brutal this movie was. I did enjoy the kills. I did enjoy the gore. I enjoy the little like stupid like I say like cheesy moments of the film that it somewhat is kind of making fun of itself, but yet taking it seriously. I enjoyed it. I thought I was entertained the whole way. I didn't think the city, the way that they were marketing, played a big part because it could have easily been anywhere, in my opinion.
I agree.
I
They
agree as
were,
well.
even in the marketing in the poster were like New York City, new playground. Like it's just like you could have easily done it anywhere. You could have
So
done
you
it.
think maybe it was false advertisement because even in the trailer it's like, oh, Ghostface has a gun.
Yeah, it's false advertising. Ghostface has a gun. Like,
But see,
okay,
that's where I get into the part of like, that's why this movie was taking itself more seriously than any other Scream title.
yeah.
Mm.
I there was a point where I was having a lot of fun watching, how brutal this Ghostface killer was, or all three of them were, and everything like that. I did enjoy that, but I did fall. I feel like the film fell very short of being consistent, and I think the ending of it kind of like fucked things up, and it was just like constantly of like, okay, what are you taking so long to kill these two girls? What do you want them to do? You want them to make them suffer, but then you're making them get away. You're letting them climb up the thing. You're letting them fucking grab a gun, shoot you guys, stab, and this and that, and then the whole thing with the whole uh was it Billy Loomis, whatever,
Billy
Loomis,
Loomis,
yeah,
with
yeah.
with the
Lumen.
daughter. Like, okay, where is this going? Is she going to be a
Yeah,
killer?
that's the thing where if and most likely they will make a next Scream title, Scream
Yeah,
7. If they end it with that, with her being the killer, I think then this falls flat entirely for me.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me three times, well, fuck you at this point.
Yeah,
hmm
for
Like,
real.
why are you gonna thread that through and then make and then be like, what? You told us since the beginning this was gonna happen. Okay, well now you're just again doing something very tropey. You should just continue to do this bullshit or just stop it altogether. It would kind of got annoying for like a split second, but I'm like, all right, whatever. Maybe they're gonna do something about this in the next movie, but I don't want it to end it with her ending up being the killer because then I don't know. Retroactively, it's kind of like, well, I don't really like this character then anymore.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think it was less dumb than the first one.
I don't. I mean, the first one was definitely like the beginner moment, and it was cool to see and how like they did bring up the whole entire like scary movie rules and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And in this movie, you have like the nephews of, was it Ray? That they're the ones that are kind of somewhat continuing on with the rules, and they're trying to
yeah,
explain the audience who there. And I gotta be honest, there's fans of the franchise, and there's just the casual fans of like, yeah, I've seen part one, two, and most of them, but when they go to the film movies, they won't remember. Oh, who's this again? Oh yeah, I remember him. They're in the
Yeah.
first one. Oh, they're explaining the rules. Yeah, yeah, I remember this has happened in the last film. This is what Scream is about. It's supposed to continue on with like rules, the series, and everything like that, and that's what attracts a lot more people. I think Scream is one of those guilty pleasure like slashers
yeah.
where you're not supposed to really take seriously, and that's what I somewhat kind of like this film, because it did take it a little bit more serious than the last film, where I was like, oh, it was okay. And what I didn't like was Gail was pointless in this fucking film. They
Yeah,
just
but you
put
said you're enjoying it, but are you really enjoying it as a Scream movie or just as a slasher movie?
I'm enjoying it as a slasher film, because I think as a Scream film, it definitely failed, in my opinion, because it's the same shit as part two. There's no motive. There's no Scream two was half revenge and half fan. Just continue on with the legacy, because you remember it was Billy's mom that planned it out for this guy to kill the people because he was a fan of Billy and stuff like that. But in this one, it's just like they're just getting revenge because they kill the son.
Well, no, they also said because he was a fan. That literally the same thing you just said. Because that
But
shrine was built for because he loved the movies and revenge for him dying. So basically the same thing.
yeah, but the thing is that they were doing it for revenge, using his fandom to get revenge from these people because he
Yeah.
was obsessed with it. So it was like, you know what, let's traumatize this family again and kill them since they killed our little brother. Where part two was, yes, Billy's mom was behind the whole entire thing, and where she pretty much corrupted a fan to do the same shit what Billy did.
Mm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like this one was just more of a family revenge,
Mm.
and then of course it's supposed to have like the heroic moment where the daughter dresses up in Billy's suit,
Yeah.
her dad's suit, and I just felt like that was really not necessary. Like, really, like when the fuck did she have time to put that on?
I might do it. I might drop it. I might drop it.
Oh man,
Well,
I'm trying to
maybe
think
if
of
you saw
things that
Cocaine
that's.
Bear, you would have
I'm
dropped
trying to
it.
think of things that saved this movie for me, but the only thing I go to right away, and the only thing I could think of immediately, is the conversation at the park where they're talking about the rules of the movie, and I'm like, that's the only Scream related thing to me that like actually like
yeah, and
is
then
consistent,
the
and nothing
thing
again. It doesn't do it consistent enough throughout the entire film.
and the thing with Gail in the film, and I just want them to stop getting the old cast, is that you're trying to kill this one of the original cast members, but the thing is that you're not going to kill her off. So what's the point of tormenting her?
Which character are we talking about? Gail?
Gail? Yeah.
She's dead. She died.
No, no,
No,
Oh wait,
she's
she's
no, she's
alive.
right.
alive.
She's got a week. Damn it! Red card,
She's
red
alive.
card.
Yeah.
God
Yeah,
damn it! I'm giving it a red card.
She's alive. Yeah.
she's alive. So what's the point of her getting
Red,
stabbed for
red,
all?
red. It's red. As much all the blood put together is that's how
All
dark
the
red
red.
this card is now at
Yeah.
this point.
Damn,
I'm
I won. I convinced the man to change his part.
He was already there.
Fuck you. I don't take the
that
credit.
I mean, like again, as a slasher film, sure, it's pretty solid. But I didn't go to see a slasher film. I went to go see a Scream film, and I didn't get that. Like five was consistently good. It fell in line with all the other movies. But six just felt like such a huge departure, more significant than five was to four. Like it's just no, it's not
Yeah.
okay. So red card for me.
Yeah,
All right,
so we got two yellows and one red. I still think the film is somewhat entertaining, but there is a lot of flaws than it was. I don't know why I was going to give it a green because I think I was just entertained of like the blood and the gore, but as a Scream film, it definitely does lackluster.
All right. So on the topic of lackluster, moving on to our next topic, the one that I don't know, one of you two's been waiting for the most probably. The Last of Us TV or HBO Max series. All 9/10 episodes are out. It's been done. The reviews are raving all about it.
They're
Does
gushing
this
for
break
it. It's
the
a live
video
coming out.
game adaptation curse? Even though Sonic technically did that first, but yay, people are still saying it as a video game movie curse or whatever. So
Resident Evil
here
is
we
good.
go. The Last of Us. Just to make sure we give some context here. So just rewind. Um, the first impressions, I think Mike and I were on the same page that even
Yeah.
though some shots were still cool and it looked good, there was nothing really for us to look forward to because we already know what's kind of going to happen. And
Yep.
so it was just visually awesome. Ham, I don't recall I think you liked it more than we did.
Yeah, you bastards.
Yeah.
So now that we have all 9.5.10 episodes out, IMDb gives The Last of Us, the HBO Max series, a 9 out of 10.
Ooh.
9 out of 10.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 96%.
Ooh.
Now, Ham had no more shrooms, but he fucking used those cordyceps to his advantage, and he drug those up and gave them out to everybody, which is why 92% of his people liked this TV show.
Mm. He
he
craft them. He craft them.
did craft them. Wait, there wasn't that much crafted in this episode, in
Red
this
card.
series. I just thought about that. Wait, there wasn't that much at all.
No.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, cards, I guess, and I don't know if I want you guys to talk about it first or if I should, but let's give our cards
It's up
first.
to you,
Mike,
man. I could talk about it first if you want. Since I don't
well,
know,
let's just do our cards first. Mike, what card are you gonna give The Last of Us?
I'm gonna give it a yellow.
Holy shit! I'm giving this a green.
Ooh.
Oof. I'm not surprised by you, actually.
I'm a
I
little surprised by Ham,
I
actually.
am actually predicting a card for Sal.
Yeah, me too.
I predicted a card already for Sal
Yeah.
because
What's your prediction?
No, go ahead.
No, 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 no. You can't say you're gonna predict when I'm. No, no, no. That's not how it works. You're gonna make a prediction. Make your prediction.
I know I believe you're treading towards yellow or green.
I'm
You're
saying
going
he's
to
going
give.
yellow.
I think he's going to give this a green.
Let's say yellow.
I'm surprised no one's saying red here
All right.
Nah, I don't think you would give the show a red.
because I'm giving it a Becky. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
Damn, that's a
um,
Shyamalan twist right there.
I'm giving it a yellow.
Ha!
I
Okay.
did teeter at one point between a yellow and a green, but I felt like the green was more of an obligatory green than it was a yellow. So I there is so much that I just kind of want to nitpick and just and and
Oh,
talk
I'm ready
about
to
this,
fucking
but
nitpick the shit out of this show.
let's make him go first then.
Yeah, because I might leave. It's good. The end.
This good? The end?
Yeah,
Like
I don't
what
like
makes it good? Tell me.
everything that you saw with your eyes. 90% of it was good. The end.
So
Okay,
you thought the
Ham.
pacing.
Here's my first question to you: do you think the game or this series did it better?
Oh, that's different because you actually
No,
get.
no, 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 no,
Nope.
no.
Nope. Nope.
This is
Nobody
a
you
adaptation,
cannot
right? This is a video game people want to see in live action. We got the video game scene in live action.
we
So did
got
the video
literally the
game
whole
or
entire video game.
the TV series did it better?
Yeah, except for episode 3. That was different.
Oh yes, the show did it better for episode 3. Then if you wanna, yeah, there you go.
I gotta
Answer the
nitpick that
question,
fucking
man. That's
episode.
all it comes down to.
Some of it was better, some of it wasn't.
So what parts were better?
Episode
The
3
parts
for
that
him.
everybody liked. There you go.
Come on, you got to give us something here.
You cannot just say, all right, green card, and then just dip out.
I think I've done it before. Yeah, I have nothing to nitpick. I really don't. I
I'm
mean,
going to torture you how Joe tortured those cannibals.
yeah, I mean, I again, I told you guys that I haven't played it in a while, and I try to remember most of the stuff. I'm like,
Okay,
okay,
okay. You brought my point. Okay, you proved my point.
which is, what's your point?
Is that the people who do not
Who
remember
haven't
the
played the
video
game?
game or haven't played the game, this is a very good show.
Hmm.
This is
So,
close to almost an excellent show,
so that means you guys
somewhat.
have already a bias.
Of
Well,
course, because the thing is that
Of
people
course, got it.
cannot. Yeah, no, I mean for me at least, because I am tired of the fucking excuse. You cannot compare it to the video game. Yes, I can because literally they did a
You
copy
can,
and
but
paste.
fairly, probably not.
yes,
Yeah,
you can fairly. No, no, no. Okay, see, this is where I have to throw the Halo thing in because everyone bitched and complained about Halo being completely not like the video game at all. Which that's why I liked it and enjoyed it because I didn't have to go in with that thinking of like, oh, he should have found the assault rifle there. Oh, there was a med pack around that corner. I don't know why he didn't get that.
why didn't
Oh
he
shit, there
teabag?
was that
Well, I
plasma
mean,
grenade. He could have
he,
stuck that elite. No,
he
it
kind
was
of did
nothing like
teabag.
that because I got to enjoy the series for what it was, not like some sort of copy and paste where you could argue, oh, but we had episode 3, and then what was the episode? Fuck, what was the other one? No, no, the Left Behind shit was still there. No,
Yeah,
episode 3 was
Hold on,
the
hold on.
only
Did you give
one.
Halo a green?
he
I'm
gave
pretty
you
sure it did.
yellow.
Or yellow?
You give it a yellow, yeah, because you didn't like some of the consistency,
Oh yeah, the Quan shit. Yeah, yeah.
the quan
But
shit.
I would still enjoy watching Halo more than I enjoy watching this because I'd rather
Ooh.
play this. This was much
Mike,
more.
do you agree on that one?
Yes.
Would rather watch Halo than this.
Oh no no no! I'd rather play Last of Us than watch the show again.
But
Okay, okay.
but the thing is, like, and I said this argument since the very beginning, since we knew the Last of Us TV series was coming out, was that I know what the ending is like. I know all the events that lead up to it. I already lived that experience. And I said one of the highlights of the game was that you got to be involved in all of the experiences. This series just literally copied and pasted like 95% of the whole 10 episodes and just gave me nothing. There was one episode that stood out to me, and that was episode. I think it's episode 5, The Brothers.
Okay.
That one stood
Yeah,
out to me as the best episode because the whole being deaf was a huge twist to the whole story, which I think was more impactful than what we were given in the game. And
yeah,
the parts that were not in the game were the parts of the series that I enjoyed, but that was very few and far in between. Like
yeah.
it was like all sprinkled in there. But when we
Hmm.
got to the parts that we saw in the game, like when Joel was going through the Firefly Hospital, when Joel and Ellie are doing the whole giraffe scene, when we got the clickers at the museum or whatever. Like, I know what that is like. My shit though that I played in the game was much more like terrifying and much more like it gave me much more of an
Emotional.
experience than what you gave me in the series. So it
Yeah,
didn't hit the same notes for me. It was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I remember when you machete the shit out of that guy, but the game like extended and gave you more backstory to it and gave you a better experience than the 2 minutes that I got in this episode.
Yeah, but that's how that dumb phrase comes up when people say, "Oh, the book was better than the movie," because you get more detail, more experience, more everything. So that's
right. But the thing is that when you're a show, you have the option to expand that story more than what we got.
Or just go a completely different
Yeah.
way.
yeah, but that's you're
When
gambling
you're
on that a
when
lot,
you're a movie,
considering
you
that.
have a time frame, right? Like the Harry Potter books, they have a time frame to fit of 800 or 900 page book into a 2 hour or 3 hour movie, and they try to do the best they can, and usually sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I feel like with a series, and especially when you're like an hour or supposed to be a fucking hour, but when you're the last episode and you only get 40 minutes to cram the whole hospital scene, like, I'm sorry, you have a lot more options than that when you're a series, unlike a movie.
Well, no, but I do agree that most of the action stuff was cut out because that is the playable part of most of the game. So they did. I mean, I think that's what people are arguing about, was there was not many infected, and I mean they
Oh,
basically
no,
cut
oh, I
off,
got a fucking bone to pick with that.
and they basically cut off all the
but
sort of combat.
But
but we can say in unison though that the when we go back to the argument of the book being better than the movie, we can always say in unison that the book is always better than what we get as a live adaptation,
Well, see,
right?
that's
That
why the phrase you're
yeah,
comparing one to the other. Yes.
But
no, that is
how can you not though? Like, how can you give me a copy and paste of something of source material, but not do anything enough for me to be like, oh, this was so much better than what I read, or this was so much better than what I played? Like, you can't not like compare it. Like there's just no way for you to separate the two. Like
the
if you did, you said it has been a long time since you played, which I think what has been, how many years since Last of Us Part 2 came out, and then how many years on top of that for the remastered and hand played? Like it's been
Yeah.
a long ass time. Like it's
mhm.
not like again, which is why I go back to Halo. Like I enjoyed Halo because at least it did something very different than the video game. I didn't have to expect the same bullshit scenes. I Did it suck that I get it? Did I not get a silent cartographer level? Absolutely, it sucked. But hey, I still got to enjoy Master Chief beat the shit out of Covenant. And here, where the fuck are the infected? Where the fuck are the most
Yeah,
terrifying scenes that was a staple in The Last of Us? Not to say it's like the main thing, because I get it that the human drama is much more impactful in that entire video game than
but
the whole zombie
Yeah,
game
maybe that's what they
but
advocacy.
were
the thing
betting
is,
on.
that whole human reaction is in part two. Why are you automatically rushing a part two story into part one and not bringing the infection where infection was all about part one?
Just a thing on top of my head with part two. I'm very interested how they're going to do that, because I feel like there are very unique locations throughout the whole, and I
Oh yeah,
throughout the whole game, and I feel like they're not going to do that correctly.
no,
Well,
they're not
it's
gonna
getting
do
at
that.
least 2 seasons.
Mm.
Yeah, because the first season is supposed to be Ellie, and the second season is supposed to be Abby, apparently. And then in the end, it's supposed to that the last fight between them. But it just goes to show. I mean,
Oh yeah, spoilers on spoilers on the video game, guys.
Okay,
oh, spoilers
so
on the video game,
so
guys.
the,
So,
but the highlights though, like okay, Mike and I are shit talking this a lot, but like maybe
I mean,
Mike and I and all three of
I
us
have
can
one thing
agree.
to say.
The three
Yeah.
of us can agree the casting spot on. I think the
Oh
casting is
yeah, it's
perfect.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
Actors
I
did
think what
an
this.
amazing job.
Yeah, yeah, for
The
sure.
scenery, the landscape, the cinematography, I guess that category behind it all,
Oh, great, 10 out of 10.
top notch. Like it
Yeah.
almost like replicates a
sure.
lot of things one out of one. I'm upset that there was not a glass bottle in that bottom cabinet to the left like I got in the game, but hey, that's okay. I'm willing to go past
Yeah,
that. That's
I don't
okay.
like how she
That's
didn't
not
color the
important.
comics, but it's okay.
um,
Where's this bread trail getting to? Come on, go.
no. But like, okay, those are great things. Now let's talk about a couple of things that were very different. We was episode 3 the gay love story. Was
Yeah,
that episode
with
3?
Bill and Frank.
Okay. Here's my thing with that. Like, people keep getting on this case. It's Twitter, whatever. Like, oh, it's a gay relationship, whatever. That doesn't bug me. I would say though that the first, I don't know how many minutes up until like after they sleep with each other, that whole part, that whole leading up to where they like the one guy walks out and then they get into an argument about like restoring the city or whatever. That whole beginning part could have been left out, because I feel like there was nothing there that really made any impact or significant, like, I don't know, connection to the rest of the episode.
I think it was very subtle, though. I think we
No, I agree with Sal. I think, in my opinion, oh my god, I want to fucking. This is the biggest problem I have with.
which
I'm
first
sorry.
part.
I'm sorry, Sal. I'm gonna just interrupt you real quick about this. I just want to get this out of my chest. I think episode three is the most pointless fucking episode in the series. Not just because of the whole gay thing. I think that was a beautiful ending between them, how they want to die. But I think it was such a waste of space in this series, because how you gonna give me a full episode of these two couples fighting over how they want to design the city, and you're only gonna give me one episode of the cannibal part. of where Ellie's fighting these cannibal people, and that should have been 2 fucking episodes. If you give me 2 episodes with this Katie bitch, you should have gave me 2 episodes of the cannibal, and you should have left this episode 3 left out, or give it at least halfway, and then Bill meeting up with Joe and Ellie, fighting the infected, and helping them escape. But no, we get a full story of their romance, and that does nothing has nothing to do with us with the story later on.
I mean, I agree, but
Nothing.
I can see that. But I mean, you haven't seen episodes or like a one-off episode with not the main characters, but it still being very good.
No, but the thing is that this yes, I've seen that. But the thing is that you're messing with story that's already so good. You're going to go off of it with only 8 episodes left? That's not right.
So you wanted more.
But the thing is, okay, so let me rephrase, let me like see if I can frame this context here, because the episode is good overall. Like the beginning parts of it, I think still could have been left out, but the whole relationship between the two, how they kind of live their lives up until they die, that whole episode is good. And yes, they are side characters that
Yeah.
are given their own story. It's still good. But when
Yes.
you have a already established story that you know you're trying to present to its viewers, especially viewers who have played the video game and know how the story plays out. And you know that there are certain moments in the video game that people really want to see, whether it's Ellie and Joel fighting infected in the sewers, or they're going through the college park and they have to, like, turn on that generator, but then they get run into the fucking bloater, or whatever. You use an episode that you could have made something that we're bitching about now much more exciting, and not have like this payoff with the episode that you give us already. Like, it was such a short term payoff. Like, yes, it gives us that backstory of like how Joel and Bill, right? Like meet and whatever, but it has nothing to do with what we see at the end.
Exactly. And I was dying for that interaction with Ellie and Bill, how they shit talk in the video game. I would have loved to see that more, because the thing is that Ellie is still a new character. Going into episode 3, you're still trying to warm up to her and shit like that. And it would have been awesome for you to see her shit talk to somebody else and somewhat, and it builds more of a connection with Joe and Ellie, where in this whole entire series, the pacing of this whole series was so off, and they were forcing the whole daughter and father, um connection, where I just felt so off. I was like, I don't know. I just in the game, of course, you spend more time with them and everything like that. And, it's just I felt like they were just rushing to get to point A to point B of towards the end of the end of the episode, where I was just like, there's no need. Take your time with it. If you need, like, in my opinion, I wouldn't mind this was 2 seasons for sure. Like, I wouldn't mind that, because there's only 2 games and each game is long. So why are you rushing? So I don't know. I would have liked for them to expand a little bit more of the infection of the world, and also too, how are you gonna change the roots? Right. Let's talk about the roots of the infection.
Well, see,
If
now you're saying change is bad.
I'm not saying change is bad, but if you're gonna change something, be consistent with it. Be like, for an example, like the roots, right? The roots of the zombies. When you step on it, like I mean,
It
not the
triggers
zombies,
it.
the infectors. They can sense where you're at and they'll run towards you. That's awesome. I like that. I like that change. But where do we see that for the rest of the show?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. They didn't have a lot more infected. Like the only other ones that we really saw that were a lot of them were underground.
So you're telling me that they know exactly where the infection people are, so they can't avoid that town. So how come they couldn't build o- outside of the city or anything like that for it to be normal life, and then eliminate the infected?
I don't, because they were fighting Fedra, and then they were just barely out of the whatever uprising that they didn't care. Remember, she was like, "Oh, we'll take care
Hmm.
of that later," and you know
So
that's where
you're
she
giving
fucked up.
me, Last of Us Part Two storyline instead of Part One.
That's what they did a little bit, didn't they?
No,
Yeah, because they went to that town. That town wasn't. That was in part 2, not part 1.
No, that was the thing. Yeah, you're talking. Well, technically, yes and no. With Sam and his brother Henry, right? Or
Henry, yeah, I think so.
Henry,
Yeah.
that they were trying to escape from the town, and Joe and Ellie helped them, and that's how the whole entire infected thing happened. Yes, but the thing is that the whole entire series, they're focusing on factions, they're focusing on people instead of infected, and this is what I had a problem with, was that what you're telling me that part two is supposed to have more infected, but part two focused on a lot more of the factions of the people
True.
instead of the
So
infections.
So like the first half of the series like kind of builds up that the infected is like a terrifying threat, but
Yes.
it doesn't show it enough to be that terrifying, cuz like you get the really cool awesome start of the entire series where there's a dialogue about how fungus is going to rule over and shit like that, and it's like very, awkward and uncomfortable in that scene. And then you get like the next episode, the lady, the doctor who's like doing the examination and saying we're all fucked and that you need to bomb this place. And then we see the infected in like episode, was it 2 or 3 or whatever, in the museum. Finally, we get to see what it looked like, and they're ugly, terrifying creatures. And then so you build up this kind of cool thing, and then you add in this little change of like, okay, now there's a network that they can sense underground, and if you trigger it, the whole fucking mob just comes rushing you. That is such a cool change, but if that's the
They don't
case,
use it.
how the fuck do you establish that? Like, isn't that established everywhere? And then how are they able to drive and then travel from this and this, not knowing if they triggered the fucking thing or not? Like, they could have like easily died any second at that point. Like, it's kind of it's like the Kane issue where he comes off as a badass, right? But then you don't show him enough as a badass throughout the whole thing, and it's like, are you really that much of a badass or you're not? And then here we get this like terrifying like feeling of like, shit, if I step here, then the fucking entire like swarms of like infected are coming to get me. But I'm gonna step over here and everything's gonna be okay because I know that it's not there. Like, it's so inconsistent,
Well, I'm
and
going to
it's
argue that it's because they were in a city, like an actual bigger city, and the less away from the city, the less that would happen. But that's probably trying to do that with, hey, we got no money, we're not going to do any more,
I
whatever.
think
But
that's what it is. It's too expensive to
but
add more
I
infected
do
people.
agree that there should have been more, for sure.
I think
because
so.
it almost seems like they forgot, like they were like building up something really cool. The first half was great, but they were like, oh shit, we only got 3 more episodes. Fuck. Do this, do that, do this. Okay, we're good.
I agree.
Case closed.
I agree. I
Like,
agree.
it's a
Um,
sad thing for me. I think it's a sad thing where I'm more excited about your after show podcast than I am about your series every week.
exactly. And I feel like the whole entire Bill and Frank thing should have been like a Last of Us special, like later on that came out.
Like a one-off episode.
One-off episode instead of it being attached to the Last of Us series, where it could have been easily how Ellie, Bill, and Joe are trying to run away from the infected
When you
and
wanted
escaping.
a side quest
Yes, a
episode
side quest.
after the fact.
Yeah, I mean they've done. I mean HBO is known for that too. They do like specials off. Like for an example, like different show, but this is what I mean. Like Euphoria, they did three different specials outside of the main series, and it connects beautifully with the main series.
Okay. No, sorry, go ahead, finish, and then I
No,
thought I had a thought.
no, it's just like where we see Bill finding Frank hung and everything like that, and we could have easily later on they could have done an off special explaining why Frank hung himself.
Oh,
Be-
because you said hung. I'm like, when did he see him hung? Whoa.
Oh, because
So
in the game he was hung. Like,
I'm joking. Yes, I know.
oh my gosh, this fucking guy.
so I like that idea of having like a spin-off series which is like kind of like the lost stories, like The Last of Us, the lost stories. Because one of the things that was like I thought was the best thing about The Last of Us, especially in part two, where the notes that you would find in the rooms and how they all kind of connected to these people that like had involvement with other people nearby. And one of the things that stood out to me, and I remember it very vividly, was in Last of Us Part Two,
The
where you play
apartment.
as Abby and you're following the kid through like the apartments or whatever, like
Yeah,
the broken down whatever. And there's this apartment where there's like four doors that you're going to be going through, but the note says something about like, oh, how we got trapped and we gave each other cookies in a basket and we left it there, and it's been a while, I don't know where they've been or if they're okay or whatever. And then you see kind of like the remnants of like the basket being there and shit being degraded and all that stuff, and it was like, that is such a cool, like, Easter egg or whatever you want to call it, that I
yeah,
think it would be kind of cool to also see that put into like an actual sequence and see it play out, not as, because it's not relevant to the main storyline, but as a own one-off episode or one-off, side quest, whatever you want to call it. I think that'd be really cool to watch. So I like that idea of like having The Last of Us, the lost stories, where you give us like these backgrounds, where you give us the episode 3 or that background to the head of Fedra, I think it is,
yeah,
the girl, like the chick that gets eaten by the infected or whatever. I think having its own spin-off series would have been awesome to have. They should have kept a couple of these things in reserve and just be like, hey, HBO Max, you want more Last of Us? Well, there you go. We pitched you an idea. We have episodes waiting for you, waiting to be, filmed or whatever. Let's do it. So I think that would have been the better route to go.
one
Did you
nitpick.
guys
a good
listen to the
idea, but
podcast?
huh?
What?
Did you guys listen to the Last of Us podcast?
No,
Oh
but I heard it
no.
was good.
It is. It is. That's why I said like I was more excited to hear the podcast episodes after watching the series than I
Do
was
they talk
watching the
shit about the
series.
show, even though they're assigned to HBO?
I doubt it.
Are they? Wait, what'd you say?
Do they talk shit about the show? Like, oh, I would have
No,
preferred
no,
they.
they don't talk shit, but
No.
what they do is they talk about the changes. And so
Mm,
like the one that thing that stood out to me was episode 3 was about like how the two actors played off their relationship at the beginning and how it kind of led to like the love story that they developed in that episode. And I'm hearing the director and Neil Druckmann, the director of the game, like
fuck
I'm
you,
hearing
Neil
both
Druckmann.
the series director and the video game director talk about these changes and talk about what they wanted to do and talk about how the actors did. And I'm listening to it and then I recall back and I'm like, yeah, I see that, but there was not a good enough execution to it. Like, yeah, those are cool ideas and I see where you're going with that, but if I'm only getting it because now you're just explaining it to me and I'm not seeing it in the series, probably not something that should have been left in the series to begin with. But there was like they talk about a whole lot of changes as to why they decided to do this or why they decided to do that, or the reaction to this character, the reaction to that character. And that's why episode 5 was a highlight for me, because they talked about how much more terrifying and much more impactful it is to have Henry being deaf than whatever was established
Oh,
in the
Sam.
game.
Yeah,
So
Sam is the one that's deaf. Yeah,
the podcast episodes, I think, were much more entertaining to listen to and
then the
much
show
more
itself.
interesting than the show
Ouch.
itself. Yeah.
I have one complaint, one more thing, and I think I'm done. Um, the ending of the episode when they showed the birth of Ellie, right? Ellie's mom getting bit, and then she gives birth, and then what was her name again? I always keep on forgetting. Um, the one that took Ellie in, uh,
Marlene.
Marlene. Okay, I have a problem with that scene. Is that she took in Ellie, right? She made a promise to her mom Anna, right? That I will watch Ellie and everything like that. How is it possible that Ellie ended up in the QZ and left behind? And when Riley said, "Oh, I met this girl Marlene," Ellie had no idea who she was. So how does that make any sense?
So Marlene didn't look after her like directly, because and this is why the podcast episode is better than the actual episode. The choice of dialogue was important there, because Ellie's mom says, find someone to look after her. Not Marlene, find someone to look after her. So Marlene probably gave up Ellie right away to some other family. So Marlene doesn't like, yeah, Marlene knows of Ellie and knows like the events, but hasn't like been so involved in Ellie's life because Marlene's running all this other shit. So it is logical, or it does make sense to me that they would never interact with each other.
But the thing is, in the game, they made it seem like they've been with each other since day one, and even in Left Behind, that they were with the Fireflies.
Yeah, but that's the game, not the TV series.
Got you. Yeah.
Or the comic book, actually.
No, the comic book. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's what my problem with, like, regardless, even though like you kind of somewhat answer, but the show failed to deliver, in my opinion.
Yes, because at first it was confusing. I felt like the Left Behind and the Ellie's mom scene should have been more closer to the first half of the
It should
series,
have been
but
probably in the lost tapes.
maybe. But I don't know. I guess the overall conclusion is it's a good series if you haven't seen or played the game at all.
It's a good shortened version of the game. How about that?
It
It
is. I will say that this show
The
is
Last
not
of Us for
terrible.
Dummies.
Yeah,
Yes,
Last of
there
Us for
you go.
Dummies. That's pretty much
There
what
you
it is.
go. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that this is, even though like I think me and Sal fucking kind of trashed it the whole entire time. It's just because we're just like Ham. I mean, Sal just recently, just was it like 2 years, 3 years ago, you played the game, so you actually know the story. Ham, it's been a very long time since you played the game, so you kind of forgot some parts of the game.
Well, as I was watching it, I'm like, what? How does this go after this? They go where? Oh yeah, then that, then that. I was trying to figure out the big plot
Yeah,
points.
yeah. Where I play the game nonstop, like literally, I'm watching the show with my wife, and I told her, "Oh, this is going to happen," and
Well,
it happened.
spoilers.
No, because she wanted to know. She wanted to know like what's going to happen after this, and I told her this and this and this, and it happened this and this and this. So she enjoyed the show. She liked it. I think the show it's okay because I play the game and I know what to expect. I just didn't get any of the emotional connection that I wanted, how I did with the game with the show. It just felt like how I watch a lot of Game of Thrones, and I know how each episode plays out, but I still feel the impactfulness, the emotion. But
To add on to that, and this will be the final thing I will say negatively about the series, is that the Joel and Ellie relationship is like the main thing of this entire, whatever you want to call it, franchise. That's their relationship is so pivotal to the entire story about the story of love, but
yeah,
it's not fleshed out in the series enough because it's so hard for
hmm
me to buy into this whole notion of 2 episodes you hate this little girl, and then now all of a sudden you love this girl as if she's your own daughter. And I felt like we kind of did the daughter at the beginning of the series a disservice. It's like you should have been maybe more in flashback mode, I guess, throughout the series to kind of make that connection of like, okay, Joel is seeing Ellie as her daughter. And what makes the game better is that you play entire long fucking sequences between the two, and you get
hmm
dialogue between the two to flesh out that relationship. Which,
yep,
yeah, I just don't like how the series just rushed through that and made us like forced us to accept, yeah, these two love each other as much as we're trying to make it seem like we did in the video game.
I
yeah,
agree.
exactly. And I'm still gonna bitch that I feel like the snow area should have been 2 episodes because that part of the game for me was very fucking intense, and I love that part. That's my favorite part of the game, and they just automatically rushed it.
Yep.
Well, like I said, I mean, yes, rushed, but I mean, they also, like I was saying, they did take a lot of the sort of gameplay elements out of it.
It's true, but I don't know. We'll see how part two goes when it comes out. I am not looking forward to that
I
because
am, because
anybody that
that's my
knows,
favorite game.
He's
yeah,
already ready for that red card.
I'm ready for it.
Spoilers, no spoilers. Spoilers? I don't know.
I think the cherry on top will be if M. Night Shyamalan directed it.
Oh
Spoilers,
God.
Abby was actually in the last episode.
That's what
Oh
I heard,
yes,
but I don't know.
No, well, the actress, the voice actress,
Oh
played
yes,
one
yes,
of the nurses.
yes. I did see that as well.
Oh yeah. Damn, we should have killed her.
It wasn't Abby though. She wasn't playing Abby. She was just playing a
Yes.
nurse.
Oh fuck, it wouldn't
Yeah.
change, right?
M. Night Shyamalan told me what the ending is. It's that Abby is a figment of Ellie's imagination.
I actually would prefer that ending.
Now that you brought up M. Night Shyamalan, next episode, I got a bone to pick with you about that one. But that's next episode. All right, Mike, do that thing you're supposed to do.
Hey guys, follow us on Drunk. Fuck. Guys, follow us on WRMA Cast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and write us an email on drunkcop.ateacher@gmail.com. Write us an email, write us a comment what you think about the show, the things that we talk about, and everything like that.
And if you hate Ham's opinion on things.
I fucking dare you.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what we got for the next episode. Something comes out. Oh, Shazam. Fuck.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that movie.
Whoa.
That exists. No,
or we could just wait till April and we get the Super Mario movie.
No,
I've already bought my tickets.
And John Wick.
Oh, true. I got to see number 3 though. All right, we got homework to do. All right, bye, people. Last words, gentlemen. Go ahead.
You remember, guys, if you have a dream, you can achieve it, because if Neil Druckmann is able to write, you can do it too, because he fucking sucks. Fuck you, Neil Druckmann.
Have you ever had a dream that you can do anything?
That's Neil Druckmann right there, writing part 2.
You give him praise for part 1, but you're gonna give him shit for part 2, but you're gonna label him entirely for part 2.
Yeah, because he is responsible, and he said it himself too. I've
Part
seen enough
2 is
interviews.
a masterpiece. Don't fuck with part 2.
Part 2 is a piece of shit.
You're a piece of shit.
Gameplay is phenomenal. I think
Last of Us Part 3 was the best, though.